Okay, the first thing that I'm going to start with is priming my face, and I'm going to use the MAC Strobe Cream. And I really like this one because it's very hydrating and it makes me look pretty luminous. Right now in the winter time, my skin tends to get a lot more dry. So this really definitely helps me to stay really moisturized and look dewy. And then I'll also spray my face with a Mario Badescu facial spray just to give me a little bit of extra moisture. And now for the eyes, I'm going to go ahead and use the Dream Street palette, the Kathleen Times ColourPop. But before that, I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyelids using the P. Louise base in the shade Rumor. Okay, and I'm going to start first with that really light brown color. I always get confused in the names. They're on the back. I think it's called Twinkle. And I'm going to go ahead and just apply that starting in the outer V of my eye and then going all the way in. And I'm going to take that on a fluffy brush. I'm using the Jaclyn Hill brushes, and that one is the JH30. And then I'm going to go ahead and now use a different brush. I'm going to use that same Jaclyn Hill times Morphe, but this one's the JH32. And I'm still working with that light color, but this one is a little bit more precise, so I'm going to get a little bit more in there. And I go back and forth between these two brushes, the fluffier one and then the one that's a little bit more precise, just to make sure that everything's blended out nicely and evenly. Now I'm going to go ahead and go with that darker brown that's in the palette. I think the shade of that one is called Moony, and I'm using it with that more precise brush first, and then I'll go back in with the fluffier one. And I really use both of these a lot. I go back and forth just to make sure that everything is blended out evenly and nicely. And now I'm going to go ahead and take the shade, I believe it's called Water Barrier. It's the burnt reddish color, and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to start in the outer V of my eye and then bring that back in, just buffing it out. And I'm going to go ahead and add some shimmer to my eyelid using the flat shader brush JH41. And I'm going to go ahead and use Shooting Star all over my eyelid. And now I'm going to go ahead and dip into that dark brown shade again using the JH31. And I'm going to go ahead and just focus that in the outer V of my eye. And just trying to get everything to blend in seamlessly between the shimmer part and then the matte darker part at the end. Okay, so for this next part, it gets a little bit weird. I'm going to go ahead and take the JH31, the precise little brush, and I'm going to take the shade, I think it's Sweet Dreams, the fuchsia looking one, and I don't go too hard in there, just lightly get a little bit of color and blend it all at the top of my eyelid. And I want to focus this really at the top of everything, blend it out, make it look seamlessly gradient effect. I do this at the end because I just feel that if I start at the beginning and as I'm putting all these colors in, it kind of tends to wipe away. So this is just the weird technique that has been working for me. Then with that same fluffy brush, this is clean, I've cleaned it, I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure that everything's blended together, that everything looks like it's part of my skin. Okay, I'm then gonna go ahead and go with the Makeup Revolution foundation stick in the shade F8. And I have been really loving this foundation. Whenever it came out in the summer, I wasn't a big fan of it. It made me really oily, but now in the winter time that my skin is a little bit more dry, I feel like I've been taking more use of this. It definitely, my oils will peek through after about, I would say, 6 hours, but if I set it really good, it looks like my face is just really dewy and luminous, kind of plump. Nothing bad like it was in the summer. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of the Lancome Tintadol Ultra 24-Hour Makeup. Mine's in the shade 320 Bis W. I like to add this just to give it a bit more full coverage. And then I'm going to go ahead and highlight my face using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade Sand. And then I do like to go ahead and spray my face with the Mario Badescu facial spray again. I just feel like it makes everything a little bit more blendable and a little bit more fresh. And now I'm going to go ahead and set my under eyes and my entire face using the Patrick Star powder that he came out with MAC. And man, this is really such a good powder. I feel like it just makes my face look really airbrushed, just the finish that it gives to you. I have very textured skin because I have combination skin, so my entire T is really oily. I have bigger pores, so I feel like whenever I use this, it just blurs everything out. It looks really beautiful. I will also go ahead and use the Fit Me in the shade 20 Light Medium just for some extra coverage. And then I'm going to go ahead and go back with the Patrick Star powder and then go ahead and set everything. Okay, so now after all of that powder that I've added on my face, I don't want to look cakey, so I'm going to go ahead and add some of the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. This is really good to just melt everything in and make your makeup look bomb. And then now I'm going to go ahead and carve out my eyebrows, and I just use this little Wet n Wild concealer pencil that I got for like $1. And so after I've carved out the eyebrows, I've kind of cleaned everything up. I'll go with that clean, fluffy brush and just blend everything in. Make sure that everything looks really nice and seamless. Okay, so now for bronzing, I'm going to go ahead and take the Too Faced Sweetheart bronzer. This one's more of a cool toned, so I'm going to go ahead and use this to contour a bit the cheekbones. And now to add some warmth to the skin, I'm going to go ahead and use the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This one is in the shade Deep Bronzer. And now I'm going to go ahead and carve the cheekbones, and I'm going to use that same Patrick Star powder. And honestly, the Morphe sponge is perfect for doing this because it's just the perfect shape to get in there, but I have misplaced that, so I'm just going to use this Real Techniques sponge to do that. It's just a little harder. And while that's baking, I'm going to go ahead and go back into that burnt reddish color and just dust that all over in my lower lash. So for highlight, I'm going to go ahead and use the Laura Geller Gilded Honey, and I'm going to take that in my tear duct and go ahead and use it to highlight my brow bone. And I'm going to use it on my cheeks, but I'll put something before I put the Laura Geller on my cheeks. Okay, so for highlight, before I put that Laura Geller, I'm going to use the Hourglass Luminous Light. And I really like this because it gives you like a really dewy look. It's not so much of a intense highlight. So I'm going to put that, kind of prepping it before I go ahead and go in with the Guilt and Honey from Laura Geller. Okay, so I've gone ahead and finished the face, so I'm going to go ahead and use some of the Morphe setting spray, but then I'm also going to go ahead and add some of the MAC Fix Plus, and I really like to combine these two because I really feel like both of them together make my skin look a lot more fresh and plump. Alright, moving on to the lips, I'm going to first outline my lips using the MAC lip liner in the shade Cherry. And now I'm going to go ahead and take the I Love Sarai times ColourPop, the Ultra Matte Lip in the shade Arriba. Okay, now for mascara, I'm going to go ahead and use the Superhero Mascara by IT Cosmetics. Alright, so this is the completed look. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I feel like this look goes with a lot of different outfits, and I think the colors are just really appropriate for the holidays and for Christmas. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!